The Supertype Legends debuted on OPTC Global on the 29th of September 2020. This Sugo-Fest celebrated the 10.0 update, which introduced the mechanic of Supertypes to the game. On the Japanese version of One Piece Treasure Cruise, this was their anniversary celebration, which built new levels of hype. Characters in this batch included Tony Chopper, Celebrate the Astonishing Cruise; Nami, Celebrate the Astonishing Cruise; Don Quixote Doflamingo, Hope Crushing Heavenly Demon; Kami Eneru, Merciless Lightning; Trafalgar Law, Life's Desire; Boa Hancock, Dedication to Straw Hat Luffy. And the Sugo-Fest exclusive we'll cover today was the headliner of the celebration with a captain effect that predominantly boosts his own attack, along with a special that provides huge damage potential for his own normal attacks. Introducing Blackbeard Emperor. In this series, we'll be traveling back in time to experience some of the older Sugo-Fest exclusive characters in their prime, aiming to show just what it was like to use these characters on their debut. I hope you enjoy the video, and without further ado, let's enter the Legends of OPTC. So thank you very much for checking out yet another episode of the Legends of OPTC, and today we are going to be covering the final character of this batch. I know we've been stuck here for a while now covering Luffy, Sabo, and Katakuri, but now today we're here to talk about the final Sugo-Fest exclusive of the batch. This character actually stayed within the Treasure Cruise meta for a little while just due to the design of this guy. There wasn't really any other character that came close to what he was actually doing. Very unique design, being the Blackbeard Emperor. So this was the secondary int super type character. Int driven powerhouse, no real surprise there for this guy. So let's go ahead and deep dive here. His captain effect would give a 5x attack boost to himself only, and then every other int character would be 4.25 times attack. You get 1.5 times health, which is definitely needed with the way that he is designed. You get reduced recovery of all characters by 85%, so when you eat a recovery slot, you're only healing for 15% of your natural recovery, so yeah, obviously recovery is very low. This doesn't affect auto healing, it just affects recovery from recovery slots, and it also reduces special cooldown of this character by 2 turns every time you take damage. This is a very important effect. If he didn't have this, he would be pretty much terrible, but the fact that he does have this makes him usable for sure. So if you do opt to use him as a captain, you'll get access to his super special. Now the super special, in order to activate it, it's a very strange condition. It says that this character must be captain and Blackbeard's attack after boosts should be greater than 500 times his attack. So wording on this is a little strange, right? But the way that it actually kind of works is, let's just pull up the calculator real quick. Let's just take his level 99. Okay, let's actually go with Limit Break, okay? So with Limit Break, he has 1875 attack. Multiply that by 500. Once Blackbeard's attack in the middle of a quest reaches over 937,500, then you'll immediately get the activation of this super effect. It's a very, very weird condition, but his special plays part in it. Once you activate the effect, it gives himself 1000 base attack and then reduces all enemy positive buffs by 1 turn. As of the recording of this video, we just got the reveal of the new Roger Rayleigh Gaban for the 3rd part of the 11th anniversary. That character also has an effect in their EX Super to remove 1 turn of all enemy positive buffs. It's a very powerful ability, and being able to just remove all enemy gimmicks by 1, incredibly good. And sometimes you would often run double Blackbeard just to get access to this ability. To remove 2 turns of all enemy positive buffs is immensely valuable, as well as getting the super int effect. So how does this character work? Well, you have a look at the special ability here. It does a 10% health cut to all enemies, or to one enemy should I say. Gives himself a matching slot. It doesn't go through block slots, which is a big deal. And then you get an attack boost and an orb boost for this character. Now on initial activation, it's 2 times attack, 2 times orb boost for himself. On the secondary activation, it becomes a 3 times attack boost and a 3 times orb boost. And on the 3rd activation, it becomes a 4 times attack and a 4 times orb boost. So this is where all of those multipliers are going into Blackbeard to give him as much damage as possible. That is the way that he is designed. You use his special. He's on a very low cooldown, 9 turns, 8 turns with Limit Break expansion. You take hits. You use his special again because every time you take a hit, you're reducing his cooldown. So you want to use his special multiple times per quest. Typically, by the second launch, when you get the 3 times attack and orb boost, that the second launch getting the 3 times attack and orb boost, typically that is when you will get the super effect to activate. Usually you don't get it on the first launch, but on the second launch, you will always get it. Well, typically, you'll always get it, so long as he has a matching slot and all that good stuff. And then he gets further buffs from his super type, and that's the way that you are aiming to use this guy. It's a relatively slow way through content, but back when he came out, there was no other character that could apply a 4 times attack and orb boost. And once you get that to activate, the fact is you can stack other things on top of it. If you have type advantage, you can get color affinity. You could provide a conditional boost, which we may use in today's video. There's lots of other different buffs that you can apply. And of course, he did receive a super evolution. His super evolution basically took what he already did and just made it better. Bigger numbers across the board. He has paralysis and special bind removal on himself. He just does more damage. So you can see on the first launch with the level limit break, it goes up to 3.5, then 3.75, and then 4x. So usually on the first activation is when you're going to be able to launch this effect. The effect is pretty much the same, just with higher numbers, but he's just easier to use. Also, additional utility is pretty nice, and he gets through block slots with the super evolution. So just a better unit overall. But we're going to be covering Blackbeard on his initial release. So without further ado, let's go ahead and jump into the content. Alright, so we are now in game with the super type Blackbeard, and we're running a very obscure looking team, but there is reasons for everything. So of course, we're going to be using Blackbeard as our main captain. I didn't want to go ahead and, you know, super evolve the unit, and then, because it's going to use too many Kizuna insignias. This series uses way too many, so I actually got to go ahead and level up another unit. And I do actually want to level up the slot bind reduction on this guy. It's actually kind of important. And he actually completely removes it at level 5, which you don't see too often these days. Now, as for the other team, we're going to be, the other side of the other side of the team, we're going to be using Katakuri as our friend captain here. He's going to be pretty clutch because, as we kind of mentioned, as we can use Blackbeard for the attack and the orb boost stuff, Katakuri can give us the guaranteed conditional boost, just amplifying the amount of damage that we're able to do. And all of this is coming together in combination with V2 Doflamingo, because this stage on the last stage is pretty annoying in terms of the gimmicks for this quest. So we're mainly going to be covering, you know, using V2 Doflamingo to just wave clear the last stage, because that's just the best way to do it. So let's go ahead and get into this one. Excited to showcase Blackbeard. Let's go ahead and do it. Now, we do have the support Sakazuki attached to Blackbeard to ensure that he is going to be having as high a stats as he possibly can. Now, remember with how Blackbeard is supposed to go, we do have to take our time with this one, because we actually want to ensure that we launch Blackbeard's special multiple times in this quest. So my thinking is I want to actually go ahead and get Blackbeard to launch at least one time before we reach stage 3. And another thing is we do have to get to low HP thresholds, but I just realized I did the same issue that I did with Katakuri. Yeah, okay, I just realized I'm using the Ho ship. I'm going to go ahead and switch out the ship. We had this same issue during the Katakuri video. I'll be back once we figure out the whole ship situation. Okay, so we are now back. We have Blackbeard's special ready to go. Let's go ahead and show off this special animation here. Now, typically on the first launch of 6-star Blackbeard, he won't get his super type to activate. We'll see if the support of Akainu on this guy actually makes a major difference or not. Probably not. You can see that he does that. He does a 10% health cut, 2 times attack, 2 times orb boost, only on himself. No super type effect activated there. So yeah, 2 times attack right there, and the 2 times orb boost. With this though, we are going to go ahead and take our time, but we don't want to take too much damage because we are going to do quite a bit of stall once we get to stage, stage 4. Okay, so let's go ahead and clear this room now. We do need to make sure our specials are ready. Doflamingo needs quite a lot of cooldown, so I guess we do need to stall quite a little bit more. We'll go ahead and kill this guy, and then we can stall on the turtle for a little bit. So yeah, the super types were kind of received very, very well in the Treasure Cruise community. A lot of people were really, really excited for these super type characters. Just introducing these free special abilities that you could get on your crew, which is immensely valuable. Of course, back when they first came out, you would only be able to get these to launch when they're your captain, and then eventually they brought the abilities to use super classes, super types when you were a crewmate, and that just changes everything once again, okay? So, crazy, crazy stuff. So moving on to stage 2 now. We don't really need to do too much stall, so let's go ahead and move on. We really do not need to stick around for too much longer here. And of course, even though Doflamingo isn't really boosted, it's not that big of a deal. Okay, so now we move on to stage 3, which is page 1. Now this is where we are going to get ourselves prepped, ready to go, because we need to prep ourselves for what's going to come out when we get to stage 4. So next thing is we're going to go ahead and use the Blackbeard special again. What this will do now is that because it's now the secondary activation, it's going to provide us with a 3x attack and a 3x orb boost, and this should go ahead and activate his super type ability. And we're going to save the super type because we want to do our major damage on stage 4. So you can see that the super type effect is now ready to go. His partial attack boost 3x and his partial orb boost of 3x. Next thing is we're going to go ahead and activate Pudding. Now you'll understand why we're activating Pudding right now very, very shortly, but we do need to save the orb boost. I'll talk about it once we get to it. Now from this point onwards, we are just going to sit here and we are going to tank damage until Blackbeard is ready to go once again. Because we are going to need Blackbeard to be ready to go for his next special, because we want to use it on the next stage. So let's go ahead and do a little bit of damage to this guy. What we want to do here is just basically wait until Katakuri is at 30% HP or below to activate his super type effect, so that we can get the guaranteed delay. And then once that's ready to go, we can move on to the next stage. But of course, it's going to take a little bit of time because we do have so much HP to play around with. This guy doesn't actually hit that hard. And once again, when you have Katakuri, when you're below 50% HP, he provides you with the amazing, I think it's isn't it like 50% damage reduction? I can't honestly remember what it is. It's a lot of damage reduction when you're below 50%. So we just have to wait until we get to that 30% threshold. And then, of course, because we're taking too long, he's going to go ahead and activate his preemptive attack once again, Bind, and the Slot Bind, which is why the Slot Bind was really important that we got that on Blackbeard. I think maybe this turn, if not the next turn, he should be ready to go. But luckily, this guy, page 1, he really just doesn't do anything. He just kind of sits here and attacks you every turn. Like, he doesn't actually do anything. And there you go, Katakuri's super type is now ready to go. So we have everything prepped to move on to the next stage. So let's go ahead and start actually trying to kill this guy. Just short there, but it's fine. Page 1 doesn't really do anything. He's going to do some damage to us, but that's not a problem. And then when we get to the next stage, this is where things get really, really fun. Okay, let's move on. Boom. Now, the reason why we have gone through, jumping through all these hoops to get our team prepped the way that we did, is because Jack has a really annoying special interrupt. So he says that if you go ahead and activate an orb boosting effect, he's going to just do really nasty stuff. So I think he removes your beneficial effects and also special binds you for 25 turns. So what we're going to do is by activating Pudding, it's going to use the orb boost that we saved from the previous stage, and that's going to be really clutch for us because it doesn't actually activate the enemy's interrupt. So that's pretty dope. Then we can go ahead and activate the special ability of Blackbeard, which is going to provide us with the 4x attack boost this time. So even though the orb boost won't be a 4x orb boost, technically you could have used Blackbeard again, stall, but you just don't need to. So now we're going to have a 4x orb boost from Blackbeard. Then we can go ahead and use the Chobro special. He's literally only here to remove some of that damage threshold on the opponent's side of the field. And we also get a chain boost because that's clutch. Now we can go ahead and use the super type ability of Katakuri, which gives us the guaranteed delay against him. And then we can go ahead and use the Katakuri special ability, which of course does the 50,000 fixed damage 10 times. It does provide us with a 2 times attack boost, but we have Blackbeard's attack boost instead. And it also provides us with the 2 times conditional boost against characters that are delayed. So with all of this activated, we have the 4 times attack boost, we have the 2 times conditional boost, we have the 3 times orb boost on Blackbeard, we have a chain boost, and now we can also activate Blackbeard's super type effect, which also gives Blackbeard 1000 base attack boost. So this is all really focused around Blackbeard doing as much damage as possible. The other 2 specials we'll need for the next stage, so let's go ahead and see how much damage we can do just with Blackbeard's attack at the last attack, because we have the chain boost. We want to finish last with Blackbeard. I don't believe he's going to die with, he's got 10 million HP, and because the attack boost and the orb boost are just for Blackbeard, I'm pretty sure he's not going to die before we reach that point. Okay, let's do it. Boom. So I believe that was 46 million. I think it was 46 million. Might have to go ahead and put a little bit of a pause frame on that one. But you can see what happens here. So Jack goes ahead and reverses our specials, gives us bomb slots, puts them in a slot change impossible, like just really annoying stuff. But this is where the rest of our specials are going to come in really clutch, right? So King does a lot of really nasty stuff, but he's not too bad. He doesn't have crazy gimmicks or anything. But luckily, with the way that we've kind of structured our team, it really doesn't matter what he does from this point onwards. Alright, so let's go ahead and use the Sangora special. Literally the only reason why he's here is to give us special cooldown reduction. And now we get to abuse V2 Doflamingo to do as much overkill damage as we can. So it says the base was 44 million. Yeah, 44 million base overkill that we did in the previous turn. So Doflamingo is going to multiply that. I think it's by 2 times or 2.5 times. So that's a lot of overkill damage. Doflamingo is just going to wipe the floor with this guy, considering that normal attacks only wasn't super prevalent quite yet. So being able to abuse strategies such as this was so cool. Normal attacks only really shouldn't exist, because being able to use specials like this to click content is so satisfying. There you go, over 100 million damage dealt to the enemy. King only has 40 million, more than enough damage to get through there. Really satisfying way to click content with the V2 Doflamingo special. So there you have it, guys. The super type celebration is now complete. However, you know, moving on from this celebration, they actually kicked off the celebration after this anniversary period with a really hype event, which we'll talk about in next week's video, as they covered even more super type characters in Treasure Cruise. So we're going to go ahead and cover a new super type character in the next week's video, but Blackbeard, you know, really cool character to go ahead and use. But I hope you guys enjoyed this video today, and if you did, make sure to go ahead and leave a like, and if you want to stay up to date with all the content I post, including more One Piece Treasure Cruise content, make sure to hit the subscribe button down below. On that, guys, I'll see you guys within the next video.